I come bearing terrible news. So this is going to be sort of a humble brag, but whatever. So I have a bunch of leaderboards, a bunch of ranking lists. I have the ELO ratings from tournament play, but I also have two rating lists I update with all the kind of events that have been run since the site's return. And I want to talk about those ratings. And the first rating I want to look at, the one I have terrible news about, is I won the first chat tournament and got a high rating early and have held on to the number one spot until now. I have just been passed for the number one spot for the only time I haven't held the number one spot. And so I wanted to show the rankings over time so you can see my fall, the end of my reign of dominance. So here we got this pretty bar graph race chart, and hopefully it'll move and work for you. See, we can see Scythe when he won Chat Tournament 2 popped up for a moment into second. Doom Train also really good in the early tournaments. Blizzard finals of the first one. Then we see Chickeny start to rise. Comfortable second place now for Chickeny. Chickeny holding on to second. Metis appears. We get Turds, we get Deli, we get Piggy, Blizzard, Doom Train. Akiyama so far not shooting up the list, but he will. Wavy appearance. Move forward a bit. Now Akiyama has jumped up to third. Chickeny was doing so well in those early chat tournaments. Then he kind of stopped playing. But when he was playing, Chickeny was playing fantastically. Very clear top 5 here. So far, only been chat tournaments that have been rated for this, but I was including anything with random games. So here you can see I've included the SPID reunion games. One thing I want to say about this rating list is it includes ties. So if, say, let's pick Metis and Addy. If they tied a game, right? Metis is rated 60 points higher, so Metis would lose 2 or 3 points to Addy. If they tied, Addy would go up 2 or 3. If Metis then won the game later, Metis would get won the match later, Metis would get the points for winning after, but also the lower rated player can gain points by tying. And so what this means for this specific ranking list is if an underdog ties a few games before losing, they often won't lose rating or can even have their rating go up, right? And if a favorite takes a long time to beat underdogs, they either won't get much rating increase or they might even lose rating points despite winning the match. So this specific version of the ratings favors people, for the top spots at least, that aren't conceding many ties. So I think that's my other ELO ratings are purely the winners of each match, but this one I decided to include ties, and I think that makes this one more predictive, though I'm not sure. Who else do we got? We got Addy. Addy comes up. I think Addy will hit 2050 at some point. Now we're starting to add the monthly GB. I think I split it into 4 sections because it took place over, 4 weeks-ish. Delial hitting second. I'm not sure if that's the first time he's hit second, but finally Chickeny has been passed for that number 2 spot by both Deli and Akiyama, and Turds jumps into the top 5 for the first time in a bit. We also see Tezuka, cool spot. He hadn't played any of the weekly opens, the chat tournaments. I'm using chat tournament and weekly open, so CT and weekly open are interchangeable. But this is the first event cool spot played, and we can see him jumping onto the list. We can also see Yevon appearing, and Yevon is very much going to be rising. Then we get the SPID reunion quarterfinals and semifinals and finals. Here, for the first time, someone gets close. Akiyama pulling real close. Delial also in range. Piggy moving into the top 5. But I then win a chat tournament and jump to a comfortable lead. Thought I was safe for a while. But Akiyama keeps rising. Yevon has rocketed into 4th place. I'm trying to highlight Yevon. Turds, Tezuka, Piggy, Metis, cool spot. Addy up to 2050. 2050 is a really good rating. Blizzard also playing very well. We see DJ, we see Wavy, who's been steadily on the list, though near the bottom. We reach chat tournament 11. My lead grows, feeling good. Yevon continues to move up the list. Will Yevon hit 2nd place? Yevon does hit 2nd place with a huge 2185 rating. And then we have the Champions League group stage. I dropped some points here, not because I lost any games, but I tied a couple games, and if you're rated highly, basically all ties hurt your rating. So we get the group stage, we get chat tournament 14. And there it was. There it was. We get chat tournament 14, where I lose to Akiyama. You'll notice Turds pulling into third, really nice, passing Deli and Yevon. And then chat tournament, the next chat tournament, Deli beats me. And here are our current ratings, where Deli also definitely in range to take that top spot soon if he has another good run. But Akiyama moves into first, passing me by 8 points. Deli currently in third. Then we got Turds in fourth. The inactive Chickney in fifth. I might drop him off due to inactivity. We'll see. Yevon, who peaked at around 2180. Piggy, who really hasn't played many events, but is already, seventh on this list. Tezuka's very strong, of course. Vialva, his rating dropped really far down. He had a bunch of chat tournaments where he was just losing in the first round every one. And in the last kind of month and a half, I think he's gained like 150 points. So if Vialva hadn't had that bad run, he could easily be over 2100, right? And he just won the most recent chat tournament, beating Akiyama and Delial in consecutive rounds to take it. So Vialva looking very hot right now. The rating may not yet have caught up to his actual performance. But it can take a while to go up. And so that's our current rating list for this. And that is the Fall of Wazzup. The other thing I wanted to look at was I have one other rating list. And let's make sure it runs properly. So this rating list starts with your tournament ELO. So I have the pure official tournament ELO for each player. And then I included all tournaments, but instead of just random tournaments, the other one was purely random rating. I also included hand tournaments, and I included the official tournaments. And I weighted the official tournaments as twice as valuable as the other tournaments. But basically, this includes every tournament since the return of the site. Ties do not count for the rating, it's only decisive results. And I included as a prior everyone's rating coming in to the return of the site, their official tournament rating. So coming in of people we've seen, myself, Seto, Akiyama, Chickney, Deli, Koner, Smokes, / Piggy, had really high ratings. Turds, Midas, Cool Spot, Kazdon, Fusion Cloud, Aesala, and Tezuka also very high ratings. And this list won't move as much because by inserting the priors, right, these players often start out with such a big lead that it's going to be harder for others to make the list. On the other hand, most players in this group, not all, but many, have increased their rating since the return of the site. So there is the argument that using the priors gives a better estimate of overall strength, and that this is the better current estimate of strength. Though I like that the other one is just based on kind of recent results, just based on the return, and is also focused on random, because random obviously isn't in the big official tourneys, and it's fun to have something really focused on that, while this is supposed to be a more general rating. I will also drop people off the list for inactivity. So Seto starts here, but you're going to see him disappear, and only once he starts playing events, Nephilim will show up at some point, will you see him return to the list. So here's our initial, I believe this is the top 15, and we'll see. All right, so we already had someone drop off. Who was it? Slash of Time drops off for inactivity, and Seto drops off for inactivity, and they are replaced by Bren, who then has a bad first chat tournament, and then Vialva and Scythe. So here's our sort of initial list. And we see some moving around, Akiyama and Chickney move closer together. I move up a little. Doomtrain makes the list. Really nice job by Doomtrain. Very good tournament player. Chickney moves into second. Delial moves into third. Foyer makes the list. Someone just dropped off for inactivity. Koner, yeah, because Koner didn't stick around too long actively. So Foyer makes the list. Bren touches it again, but is then repassed by Vialva for the second time. Addy touched in there for just a moment, if you caught that, but Doomy takes that last spot. Addy again touches in. Foyer and Doomy switching. Foyer only played like one thing, so this is really other people getting above or below him. Chickney, so good at the start, as we mentioned again, moving into that number 2 spot here. And Akiyama and Delial also right next to him. Sir Smoke's not active yet, but has dropped a little rating. Delial moves back into third, passing Chickney. But otherwise, this list has been pretty steady. We see Akiyama rising. Can he move into first here? We also see Piggy rising. Piggy has made it into the top 5. passing smokes. And you can see, if we go back a sec, that we were including chat tournaments. You can see in the bottom right what the tournament is that's currently being gone through. But then we're including things like the Halloween Hand Tournament, right? So Akiyama did really well in that. You can see he's getting close to that top spot. Piggy was in the finals of that, and Tezuka was in the finals of that and hits 2100 here. Then we see there's the Clan Tournament, where Piggy also made the finals, so his rating continues to go up, and Akiyama breaks 2400, also making the finals of that one. Then we have back to chat tournaments. Yevon makes the list. This is the first time Yevon has hit the list. Yevon's prior started out a bunch lower than other top people, but he's been so good in this run, in this kind of mid-later period of the return so far, that he's going to jump onto our list and be one of the people who secures a spot in this bigger list. See, he's almost made top 10 now. We have the November GB. I did really well in that. I break 2500 here. Akiyama continues to be second, Delial third, Chickeny fourth, Piggy fifth, Turd sixth. This looks pretty reasonable overall. I think there's debates of who the best player has been. This led into me winning Open Player of the Year, which I think was legit. But it is also to say, in the weekly opens, every time I've faced Delial, I've lost, right? Delial's record against Akiyama has beaten him, I think, all but one time. My record against Akiyama, I've beaten Akiyama all but one time, right? There can certainly be matchup advantages, or just players who are more consistent and other players are best at their best. So I'm not putting out this list to say this is the correct ordering of players, but I am saying this is, I think, a useful ordering of results, of what the best results have been since the return. We see Addy making it back on the list. Addy's really impressed me. I know he has the closed reputation, but seeing him play open, it's just very clear he's just very good at triple triad. Midas might start to rise soon. Midas has been placed really well so far. Tezuka and Midas kind of neck and neck, but I think we're going to hit Nephilim soon and Midas will make a jump. So we have the Dwarf Battle of the Decks. But again, not much movement here. And Nephilim. Seto reappears on the list, and Midas breaks 2200 on this, passing turds. Slash reappears because he played this event. I hit my high rating. Seto moves into second. Seto's a phenomenal player. He made the finals. Turds repasses Midas in a chat tournament. Akiyama repasses Seto. And that brings us to the present day, which it just moved off. So these are our current general ratings, where I still have a... Nope, why are you moving? What's happening? All right. This is the current list I've got. Hoping Chickeny plays more. He was so strong when he was playing. And this list didn't have as much movement, probably not as interesting to look at. But I wanted to show both lists, I think. This one will soon be updated with Clan League results and some other things. I'm gonna try to give a link to both these charts so you can look at them if you want at your own speed in the comments to this video, and I will update them somewhat frequently, but feel free to send me a message if you want to see them updated, or if you're curious what your rating is. Now, I will say, if you're not making this list, or either of these lists, generally speaking, the average player is definitionally 2000. I set the initial ratings at 2000, and so all players will move around 2000. However, the way it actually works means I think a 1950 rated player is not actually a below average player. And the reason for that is the tournament elimination format, right? If you think of just say take an 8-player tournament. 4 of the players lose in the first round, go 0-1. So 4 of the players have a negative result. 2 of the players go 1-1, make the second round. So 6 of the 8 people, 75% of the field, have a 50% or worse record. Are likely, if they're gaining rating, are barely gaining much, because 50% really hard to gain rating going 50%. So 50% of the field is going neutral on rating or losing rating. And 2 people, the finalists, are gaining real amounts of rating and not going down. And so you have this format where essentially every tournament, 75% of players are not gaining or are losing rating, and 2 players are gaining. One thing we saw with the monthly GB and tournaments like that is more players have the opportunity to gain because you're not eliminated when you lose, right? It's not a format where 2 people suck up all the wins. In that 8-player tournament, the top 2 players between them have 5 wins. The other 6 combined have 2 wins, right? There's this way that wins are funneled, and the top people get rated way above and kind of suck points out of the pool. So while an initial rating is set to 2,000, if someone can maintain a 2,000 rating, they are clearly an above average player because the tournament system makes it really difficult to do that. And yeah, so I think it would be easy to like look at this leaderboard, and if you asked me your rating and I said like 1880 to feel bad about that, but I don't think that's bad. I also think the site is really strong at the moment. And as a bunch of people have pointed out, there just aren't the many, I don't want to say fish because there is a player named Fish and he's quite good, but there aren't like the fish in the pool that are just easy to pick up wins against anymore. Like it's a tough site right now, right? There's not the influx of noobs. There's not the players who diet on noobs and kind of don't do anything else, right? So there's not this ecosystem that supports weaker players, which kind of sucks because it's really nice when there's a whole set of players coming in, but it also means the strength right now is really high and getting a high rating is difficult. It also takes a lot of consistency more than anything else, right? You can play the most brilliant game ever played, and if you drop the next one, maybe your rating goes down overall, right? Well, if someone plays pretty well a few games in a row, maybe they go up. So, okay, that's enough about ratings, but I wanted to congratulate, maybe we'll go back to the other list. I wanted to congratulate Akiyama for taking the lead on the random ELO rating list. I hope to reclaim it, but we'll see. We can go to the moment where that happened. We're here. Akiyama has... Nope. Why is it moving again? So bad at controlling things. All right. So Akiyama currently with the lead. Delial's made, I think, 2 finals in a row, but hasn't won one recently. He has been winning all the GBs, but that's a different thing. And has a shot to hit the list. Turd's also playing really well, made a finals in a recent GB. Won a recent GB, sorry. Beating Vialva. Vialva has a finals, a win, a couple semis in the last 4. I think every single time he's made the second round, twice he's made the finals, and once he's won, beating Akiyama and then Delial. So Vialva's certainly one to look out for at the moment. Yevon's had a really good run. Chickeny's been kind of inactive. You could argue Piggy should be higher. He just hasn't played enough to get there. And, I mean, everyone here is very good. So that's the current lists, and I'll probably update you at some point. But if I don't, be very suspicious, because it probably means I haven't regained the top spot. Alright, so those are my ratings. Again, I'll try to give links if you want to look, and if you ever want to see these updated, let me know, because I only update them when I remember to, which is usually if I have a video in mind.